Hello, hello. Dope. Okay. Are we all set? You guys good? We're going to get deep today.
Is my mic on? Yes, it is.
All right. This is my favorite topic. Hey, girl.
Eddie.
How's everybody doing today? I'm so glad you guys are here. Because this is a very important topic. My name is Pauleanna Reed. I'll be your host for this discussion. My professional background is in professional writing. I've been a journalist for almost 15 years. I'm a senior reporter at Forbes. I also run a organization and a celebrity ghostwriting agency where I support high-profile leaders and doers in ghostwriting their books, their speeches, and their op-eds. I have lived with high-functioning depression and anxiety my entire life, and I'm really passionate about this topic because I do feel like every single one of us is fighting our own private battles behind closed doors. And so I'm very, very happy to discuss this topic with my sisters, my friends, my girls, because each of them have a very unique experience that they can bring forward, and I really hope that empowers you to also raise your hand, to ask for help, to take up space. And so I'm gonna ask each and every one of them to introduce themselves, and then we will dive right in.
Hi everyone, my name is Amber Jones. I own Life Key Financial Group. We are a full service personal credit repair, business credit, and tax firm. I've known Pauleanna about 2 years now. She's helping me with the project that I'm currently writing now. And dealing with mental health is very important. We talk about it a lot. I've cried on the phone with her a lot. So I'm just so glad to be here and share this with you all.
Hey guys. Hello? Okay. Hey guys, I'm Dennice Johnson. I am a broker. I own a sports relocation company. I work with the NBA and the NFL, so I relocate a lot of professional athletes. Anytime that they are getting drafted, traded, or released, I help them with their real estate, their car shipping, their moving. I'm basically a one-stop shop concierge service for these guys. Mental health is really, really important to me because a lot of family members that I have very close to me have dealt with it, and so it's like an ongoing struggle with my family.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariane Camille. I am a psychotherapist in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am currently building and cultivating emotionally well entrepreneurs. So I am extremely excited to bring this conversation about emotional intelligence into this room and space, and I just thank you guys for the opportunity.
No problem. So my first question is around conversations in your home. Like, what were the conversations like growing up around mental wellness? Were you encouraged to raise your hand and ask for help or sweep shit under the rug?
Well, I'm Caribbean. My background is, my mom's from Barbados and my dad's from St. Vincent, so ain't no crying, ain't no nothing. Mom's not like... Yeah, it was very sweep under the rug. Like, you'll see people crying, but you don't know why. You don't really ask questions about the intenseness of what's happening. You know, children kind of stay in their place. If you see adults arguing or having, moments, even when it comes to alcoholism, addiction, things like that, you don't really ask questions, but you can see things as a growing child. So, yeah, there was a lot of... patterns of mental illness within my family that just was not spoken about at all. Yeah.
I would have to echo that. I think in my house, given that my mom suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, I was also in a marriage that basically had bipolar disorder as well. It just wasn't something that we talked about. It was always like, well, that's just crazy John. Just, nobody talks about it. It's very taboo. Going to therapy is like frowned down upon. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you need therapy? So it's not something that I really looked into until like my late 20s, really, honestly.
So for me, the same thing. I grew up in a household. It was a very loving household. If you cry, they baby you and ask you if it's going to be okay. But if something was wrong, everyone looked at therapy like it was a bad thing or that you're crazy. So it was okay to cry and it was okay to be emotional, but it's not okay to let it linger alone. So therapy was looked at in my community as you're crazy, basically.
I want to talk about a time in your life where you suspected you might need to seek help. I grew up in a Christian household, much like Amber, and my father was a former pastor, and so like my parents would always tell me that I could pray pray things away. And in my college years is when I had my first suicide attempt. As the result of, you know how, you know, when you're a kid and when you're growing up, you know, you're empowered to be anything and everything you want to be, and then you get to high school and you're then conditioned to be more realistic. So I got lost in that gray area, right? Because I make a very good living from my art as a professional writer, but no one believed in me. You know, I had to really believe in myself. And so when I was put in a box, and when my counselor and my teachers and everyone told me to play it safe, it was the start of, you know, my downfall. And so that was my first experience that was my first experience of when things got very extreme for me. I want to know about a time in your life, whether as a child or as an adult, where you were at your breaking point, and talk to us, describe to us the feeling, because I feel like a lot of us can relate.
For me, it was kind of the complete opposite. Mine was in my later years, about 2 years ago. So a lot of people think, you know, they want success and they want all of these clients and they want all of these staff members and et cetera. And I got that, and it was too much for me. So just coming up, just playing basketball, I could just go out there and I could just play. Your hard work is based off your athleticism. But when you're running a company and you have all these people depending on you, you have hundreds of thousands of clients, it was getting to be too much. And like I said, I cried on the phone to her a lot of times. I'm a type of person where I really love the people who love me. I'm a big family person. I come from a big family. I love my friends. I love my teammates. I love my sorority sisters. So I dealt with trying to please everyone. Like if I have 50 personal people that love me and I have 1,500 clients, my phone was ringing all day. You know how when you first start being an entrepreneur, I want 2 phones, and I'm thinking I needed 2 phones, and the phone never rung, and I was leaving it at home, and now I actually, you know, have to have 2, because you have to balance that, and especially in business and just your career in general. If you are a people pleaser, as far as pleasing the people around you, it can suck the life out of you. So where I was at the highest point of my business, it's like I was drowning in the inside because I was dying, because I'm everyone's emergency. I fix personal and business credit. I'm everyone's emergency. So if you're in the bank and something is happening, it's me, but the Amber in me wants to help immediately. But in the inside, like, I need help, and I needed to be seen first. So I really had to step back, stop our project, get help, and really figure out how to have that work-life balance.
So I started my business probably about 8 years ago, and similar to your story, I think I was overwhelmed. I was drowning. When you're dealing with professional athletes and teams and stuff like that, I don't know that they have any, like, they don't have a wherewithal of, like, it's 2 a.m.
Entitled.
They don't care. Sometimes they can be a bit pretentious and entitled. They're calling it all hours of the day or night. And then sometimes I have guys that are also struggling with CTE, you know, or personality disorders and stuff like that. So I have to be cognizant of that and, like, treat everybody differently, you know? I build rapport with every single one of my guys differently. And so I kind of felt like I needed to start tapping into therapy, because not only was my mom struggling with mental illness, and then I had my guys that were struggling with it. I was like, I'm on the brink of dealing with it myself if I don't get in somewhere and get some help. And I feel like I needed somebody that was, like, unbiased, just like a sounding board, like somebody to just, like, here, I need to unload this on you, and maybe my therapist is going to need therapy after this, but I really just need somebody to talk to. And so after I started doing that, I kind of noticed that, like, my anxiety levels and stuff like that were, like, kind of diminishing. So that's when I tapped in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for me, I'm a therapist, but I always even tell my clients I'm a person first. So I too struggle with depression. I too struggle with anxiety. I too have negative thoughts. I've experienced suicidal ideations. So it gives me like a special gift when I have my clients in front of me, because when they're describing some certain things, I have been there. So for me, it's kind of parallel to entrepreneurship. I live by myself, and I'm a single woman. And if anybody has ever lived by themselves, then they know that if anything happens to you, it's absolutely up to you to ask for help, because no one else is going to be there. So I was on the floor of my bathroom, and my bathroom is like my safe haven. So I'm on the floor of my bathroom, like crying, like knees to my chest, and I'm just sitting on the floor. And all of a sudden, it was like these gnats were like circling my head, right? And the gnats were like whispering like, you're not going to be able to do this. This is when I was like in graduate school, but I started seeing a larger vision for myself other than just being someone's therapist. So I'm like in the bathroom and they're like I say they as in these voices are like, you're not going to be able to make it. This is stupid. Like, why do you think that you can be this person? Like, no one else sees what you're seeing, so obviously it's not going to work. Like, sit your ass down. Like, this is literally what's going on. And I'm like crying. I'm like, this cannot be right. This can't be real. So I kind of mustered up some courage because, again, I'm living by myself. So it's only you, baby girl. So I mustered up some courage to go into my room. And at this point, I was living in my apartment for maybe like 6 months. So I look at this wall. And on the wall, this is no lie, I swear. On the wall, I read, big letters carved into the wall, FUCKYOU. How did this, hold on. I just signed my lease. I've been here for like 6 months, almost a year. Like, where did this come from? And I looked at that, and I said, no, F you is what I said. I said, no, F you. I was like, oh, hell no. So I started getting angry, right? And I started getting more confident in the fact that I'm not going to allow these voices and these spirits to come and take me off of my mission and my journey and my impact, because I know that with one-on-one therapy, I'm touching one lives, but with emotional exchange, which is my baby, my passion, I can touch many lives, and that's what I'm supposed to do. So that was a moment for me when I realized therapists need therapists, and I need to check in to find some outside help above what I was doing for myself. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that you spoke about voices, right? And you spoke about, I do feel like some people are facing demons. Like, I mean, I still deal with fighting voices, and every single day is still a fight for me, no matter how cute the Instagram photo looks, no matter if you see me on stage talking in front of people. Like, when you see me present, it's because I chose to be here, and every single day is a fight. One thing that I will say is, when I recovered from my suicide attempt and I dropped out of college, I did have the support that I needed, and I continue to have the support that I needed. My doctor was white and wealthy, and that is an advantage that a lot of my peers do not have. I wanted to know from you all, was it easy for you to make the decision to seek help? Because I know some people may be struggling with that. And when you did seek help, what resources, how did you find the therapist that was helpful for you?
So I, when it was time to seek help, I think I'm kind of like a rock for my whole family, for my friends, for my clients. Like, they kind of seek to me to do everything. Dennice gets me the house. She ships my cars. She ships my belongings. My friends, they're like, Dennice is the one with the money. We're going to borrow money from her. We're going to stay at her house, on her couch, and her advice. And so really, whenever I kind of was having that shortness of breath, where you're just like, okay, another day, all right, and you're struggling to get out of bed, and you're like, okay, is this depression? Is this going to take me out? I'm not totally sure. I was like, all right, so I really need to look inward and make some calls. And so I kind of started looking for therapists that I felt were aligned with my core values. I don't know if people do this when they're looking for you, but I'm like, I just want to make sure that they know that I'm black and that I'm a woman, and that I have insecurities, and that I'm stressed, and that sometimes I'm hormonal, and that I have a lot on, that I feel like I have a lot on my plate. And then speaking to your voices, I feel like sometimes you have these inner voices that are like, you ain't got nothing going on. I've seen people do more with less. And so you're sitting here judging yourself, and you are your own worst critic. And that's really, I think, the biggest hurdle to get over when you're trying to find a therapist is getting yourself to shut up. It's going to be fine. Nobody's even paying attention. Half of you guys are probably on your phone, not caring what I'm talking about. But, I hope you are. But yeah, so that's kind of what I had to go through when I was looking for a therapist, is just getting that inner voice to just be quiet and then make the call.
Ariane, I want you to talk to the waiting list that exists, right? I went to my doctor first before seeking a therapist, and my doctor, who was white and wealthy, was able to push me through, right? But I know friends who have been on waiting lists for years. Like, they don't have access. What does someone do in that situation where they desperately need the help, but it doesn't seem like the supports are there? Like, what are resources, tools, or alternatives that can sustain them in the meantime?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with searching, the search, right? So the platforms that you can use to search for your therapist, one, you can go to your insurance company. So go to the back of your card. There's a website there. You can go to the website. It'll say find a doctor. Put in therapist. Put in your, like what you're looking for. If you're looking for like a black woman, you can put all those things there to find a therapist. It'll be inside your, insurance plan. You can also go to therapyforblackgirls.com by Dr. Joy Harden Bradford. She's amazing. She also has a podcast called Therapy for Black Girls. It's a great resource if you need a pick-me-up. There is over 200 episodes on depression, anxiety, how to whatever it is you're going through. She has a podcast for it. So you can go there on therapyforblackgirls.com. You can put in the zip code, insurance, all of those things. Psychologytoday.com is another way that you can find your therapist, and they have a broader spectrum of things. There's also Therapy for Black Men website where there's a directory of therapists. So I think once upon a time, even now, especially during the pandemic, there seemed like there was a lack of therapists, but I'm telling you guys, there are people who are waiting on you. You just have to find them and keep reaching out. Yes, some people do have wait lists. If I could be completely honest, I'm not taking any individual therapy clients right now because I'm working on focusing on my entrepreneurs. But there are therapists out there that I could refer you to if you are in Georgia. But there's people. So you have to be hopeful and broaden your perspective. Don't get too set on one person and assume that the next person won't be able to help you. Like, God is going to open the doors for the right person for you, so you got to also believe that and just don't give up. Yeah.
And if y'all from the country or have any family like mine, do not tell your mama. This lady made me think, I was delayed like 2 months even going because, Amber, you don't need therapy. Like, you're crazy. Like, I knew something was wrong with you, smart people. You're crazy. So if you come from a family that doesn't value therapy or is not normal, I wouldn't tell them. I would go seek the help first or speak with someone who has been through it or a professional or et cetera, because people around you can easily talk you out of it.
I want to talk about prescriptions. I want to talk about medication. I was on several medications. I have been on several medications throughout my journey with depression and anxiety. I know there are some people who don't believe in medication. I mean, if I had a broken leg, I put on a cast, right? Like, for me personally, it was helpful, and then I weaned myself off of it over time. Can you please talk to the benefits or what we should be looking out for? I also do know some doctors abuse the system and may over-medicate us. So, like, talk to us about what that may look like.
Yeah, realistically, black men and women are wrongfully diagnosed every day. So some of the experiences, like, for instance, if I told somebody, not all people, I mean, people are, educating themselves and becoming more culturally diverse. But I'm in a room full of people like me. So when I tell y'all the voices and the sounds, y'all understand that is a real thing that comes from within, right? So, but if you tell the wrong person that, they're like, oh, we might need to go get her to the psych ward because what is happening, right? Like, what do you mean how deep are these voices? What type of voices are you hearing, right? What are they saying? Okay, so you also kind of got to be mindful about who you're telling your experiences to, right? You got to protect yourself as black people. Just like when you go to the doctors, you got to advocate for yourself because we know that the doctors aren't always going to treat us the way that they're supposed to, right? So in therapy is very much the same. So when it comes to, let's kind of talk about the stigma behind medication. So, you think medication in our minds and our backgrounds is associated with being psychotic and associated with the psychiatric wards and things like that. But honestly, a lot of the medications are, have benefits that can also boost your energy, and it can also quiet those noises and relax you as far as like anxiety and things like that. So if you have ever been offered the opportunity to take medication, I'm holistic, I'm plant-based, I do my sage and my Palo Santo and all that yoga. So I always encourage my clients to tap into the holistic things first. I want to evaluate what you are doing, what are you eating, how much sleep you're getting, how much water you're getting, what conversations you are having. Your environment is extremely important to contribute to how that medication is either going to elevate you or hurt you worse. Okay, because the medication sometimes makes you feel different. So if you don't have the proper environment around you, that different can send you over too, right? So it's important to change your environment first, and then, try the medication if that's what you need. And I recommend it. If you're doing the yoga, if you're eating good. I've had clients who have gotten there, like, okay, we've been in therapy for 6 months and you're still having panic attacks. Baby girl, we need to try some medication. We need to get you a psychiatrist. And it's no fault to you as a person, and it's no fault to me as a therapist either. It just means that your body, your brain, if I could get into neurology, like your brain and how you have processed trauma and how it's been rewired hasn't reached this safe place yet. So medication will help you calm those things so that we can find you safety. Yeah.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Okay, so there are a few things here. I want to know, like, is there something that your therapist has shared with you, therapist, counselor, pastor has shared with you that has been like an anchor, kind of been your North Star? I'll give you an example. Like my therapist, in one of our sessions, she said, when your values are clear, decisions are easy. So we spent a lot of time working through what's important to me, what my foundation is, what I believe in, what I stand on. Is there anything that your therapist has shared with you that you think may be helpful for someone in this room?
Boundaries. Boundaries. I don't know if we all struggle with boundaries, but I know I do. I am a people pleaser by nature. And if you come from like a traumatic background with your family, you're like a yes man for everything. I just want to pacify. You want to do that? That's fine. I don't want any problems. And so just like setting boundaries and like Pauleanna said, like core values and making sure that you're in alignment with that. And if anybody's even going to like halfway try to breach that or no. Like the line is set, you're not doing it, I'm not doing it. Because usually it's you. Like people only cross the lines that you allow them to cross, but sometimes you're crossing them to pacify them or please them. And so I think just setting boundaries was one of the heaviest things that literally I have a call with him tomorrow. Every time we're on the phone, he's like, Dennice, are you setting your boundaries? Are you turning your phone off? Like for entrepreneurs, are you turning your phone off at a certain time? Are you disconnecting? And then in the mornings before I even start my day, he's like, don't just grab your phone and immediately start checking emails and start downloading 100 things to your day, to your spirit. Like make sure before your feet even hit the ground that you're thankful for a few things, that you're present in that moment. And so just a few little things like being grateful in the morning, being grateful before I go to sleep, not grabbing my phone right before I go to bed or right before I wake up, and then setting my boundaries and being very intentional about that with everybody, clients, family members, friends, anybody.
Mine's is planning my day. For people who deal with slight anxiety, if you have a planner and you plan your day out, that helps. With me, everyone knows if it's not a fire, I don't want to hear it until the end of the day, because something can easily come into my day and destroy everything I have to do. So if the building is not burning down, do not call me. And everyone knows that my phone stays on do not disturb during the day. I had a situation, my mom, she always texts me 911, and it's never an emergency. And I said, if something really happens one day, I'm not going to take you serious. And like 2 months ago, my goddaughter passed away. Like something was wrong, and I ignored everyone. So just cutting that phone off throughout the day is on do not disturb all day. And in my planner, I like to write. I like to write. And so I write out 30-minute blocks. So every 30 minutes, even down to when I'm eating, it'll help deal with that anxiety and the overwhelming feeling that you may feel every day. So like she said, no, my phone goes on do not disturb at 10 o'clock, whether I'm asleep or not. And it doesn't come off. I wake up in the morning, go in my closet, I pray, I go to the gym. I don't associate with the world until after I get home and I'm headed to work at 8 o'clock. So you have to cut the world off because we don't realize how much the people around us, the world around us, our jobs, family, everything plays a big part in that mental health.
Yeah, you know what I love about what both of you guys said, that they're different, right? Everyone has their thing. Like when you're talking about planning down to the 30 minutes, that would freak me out, okay? I'm not doing it. We're not doing 30-minute blocks. Hell no. Like, what? that gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
So you have to know like what works for you.
Yeah.
So it's really about getting to know yourself and figuring out what your triggers are and things like that. So one thing that my therapist kind of like helped me with is realizing that you're taking too many things personal. Like you're assuming so much, making all of these assumptions, and you think it's all about, girl, they not stunting you. They're not paying attention at all. Like, it's okay. You can take a deep breath. Like, no one sees what you're going through and what your thoughts are on the inside. Like, no one can see that. I'm like, but are you sure? Like, I feel like they can see what's happening inside of my brain. It's like, no, they can't. So that was a big takeaway for me, like taking a step back and realizing that I don't have to take everything like personal. What someone does and what decisions they make in their life is about them and is a choice for them, and it does not have anything to do with me.
And for me, it was learning how to confront those issues initially. One of my favorite quotes that I live by now is, with communication and clarity, we build relationships. Without communication and clarity, we destroy those relationships. So many times things can be, like even with my ex-business partner, I said if things were clear and wrote out on paper like they should be, it wouldn't be issues. So a lot of times, because we may be scared of the conflict or what they may say, a lot of things that we overthink in our head about someone or what they may be feeling is not even what it seems, and it can be resolved if we just communicate that.
Set boundaries.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships and friendships, how do you communicate, handle, treat, love someone in your life who is dealing with a mental illness? For those who are here because they just want to be educated and they want to support someone in their life who's struggling, what do you feel like is the best approach? How do you like to be approached or handled or loved? And how have you approached, handled, and loved somebody who's struggling?
My childhood friend, they lived across the street from us all my life. Her older sister was only 2 years older than me, got diagnosed with breast cancer at 26. And it was my second year overseas playing basketball. And when she was in the hospital dying, I didn't go back to Europe for a month to sleep in the hospital with her every day. And so we still talked here and there, but Monet, she didn't go to college. She was from a small town. Her sister was all she knew, literally. Her sister was all she knew. So she dealt with really bad depression. So fast forward 2 or 3 years later, when my career ended, I had a foot injury. I had 3 surgeries in 1 year. I almost had to get my foot amputated. I asked her to bring me grapes one day. Long story short, she didn't come see me, and I'm like, how could you not be here for me? Even though a death is different, but your basketball career ends, that's kind of like a death too. And I'm like, I was here for you. So as I got older and I got in therapy with my business coach, all relationships are not designed to be 50-50. She needed me more than I needed her. I had a village. She didn't have anybody. I was kind of, depressed, but she couldn't get through everyday life. So you never know what God may be, planning for you. And that's why I think he put so many people in my life, because even to this day, I give 80%, she may give 20%, but my 80% is everything to her. So I don't believe anymore that relationships are designed to be 50-50. Of course, we can't get taken advantage of, but in some situations, people with dealing with mental health, we have to have that compassion and be there for them and not think about ourselves, because that's what God would do. We have to be there for people. So that's my situation, and I'm still dealing with it to this day with her. It's been 7 years, and she's still not the same. But I still check on her. I send her flowers. I do everything that I can do to support her.
So if you guys find me on Instagram, I have a story where I was was this like 2 months ago, maybe, Pauline? I think it was like 2 months ago. I was driving it's like 30 minutes outside of the city that I live in, and my mom was homeless, and she was eating like outside of a gas station. And I don't feel like I've ever talked about this publicly. And anyway, so she was out there and homeless, and she was like the quintessential homeless person that you see, like pushing a grocery cart with all of her belongings or anything that she had, which was like food and I guess some of the clothes that she had at the time. And so I pulled over and I was like, "What? You have an apartment? You have a place to live, right?" She's like, "No. My mom has been struggling with mental illness, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder for probably 15 years at minimum. And I took her, got her a hotel, got her dressed up, got her an apartment. And to what you're saying, like sometimes when you're giving somebody like 80%, it's everything to them, you know? And she might call me once every 6 months and be like, "Love you, baby." And that's it. You know, that's all I get. But like, you know, my love tank is full, and I thank God that I am mentally sound and that I have a good like support system and other family members and stuff like that like really ride for me, because otherwise I probably would not be well. But so I got her stable, but I was just sharing with Pauleanna before we came in here that maybe 2 days before I came out here, I got a call, and now she's using that apartment for like prostitution and drugs and stuff like that. And so it's like, like mental illness is one of those things where it's like choosing yourself every day, you know, whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, or it's more severe case of schizophrenia or, you know, multiple personality disorders or what have you. I think even myself, I have to wake up every single day and say, I'm choosing Dennice, and I'm going to prioritize my mental health, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to give up on myself. And I feel like my mom has given up on herself, and it's a sad story. When I get back to Dallas, I'm going to have to address it. But, you know, we just keep trying, and I'm just going to continue to pour into her and give her grace. And in the video that I have on my Instagram, I basically say, like, sometimes when you see these homeless people and they're like talking to themselves, you know, and every now and then, like, I'll see people like post these like viral videos of these ladies talking to themselves, or these guys, or like, "Hey, I'll give you, you know, some sexual favors for $1," and they think it's a joke and stuff like that. In my video, I'm like, give them some grace, because it literally could be my mom. You know what I'm saying? Because I think when people look at me, they're like, she's so well put together. She has this wonderful job. She works with the NBA. She's traveling all the time. She's all laughs. She's charismatic and all this stuff. But I'm like, behind closed doors, what you're not seeing is that, like, I have family members very close to me that are struggling with mental health. And it's not just my mom. You know what I'm saying? I have friends that are struggling with mental health. And I cannot urge to you guys enough to prioritize it. Quiet your mind when it's telling you that nothing's wrong with you, or that you're dumb, or that you're overreacting, or that you're being dramatic, and seek the help.
And it's so crazy because when I had COVID, I don't know if anyone in here had a bad case of COVID. I say all the time now, I empathize for people with mental health more because it really affected my mind. It took over my mind. Like some days, like I woke up one day and I called Morgan, my vice president. I said, I can't run this business anymore. Too many staff, too many clients, everything. I felt like I wasn't capable of driving my car. I sat outside in the rain and got rained on, couldn't sleep. And the whole time I felt normal. I didn't realize that I was tripping until after it was over. And I'm like, this is crazy because it took over my mind. Like I'm building a house. I called them. I said, I don't want it anymore. I don't deserve it. I can't, like I just can't. And it's so crazy because during this whole time, I felt normal, and I didn't realize it until after. I'm like, if this is what people with mental health deal with, I could see why they commit suicide, or the people who had COVID jumped off the buildings and different things like that, because it really took over my mind, and I didn't even realize it. It was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pitfalls of mental illness is very hard, and it's very tragic. And it can be extremely difficult to come out of independently. And we all need support, and we all need somebody. I don't think you guys answered, so I'm going to try. But Pauleanna, you asked, like, how do we want to be loved and supported? I think you, that was the other part of the question, yeah. So for me, I don't know, I'm very vibrant, I'm very lively, and people assume that I know everything and I got it all together and, I can be the support and people want to call me all the time and be there all the time. But honestly and truly, I have my moments where I am terrified, okay? And I am freaking out. And sometimes I have to tell my friends, and I'm like, okay, you've never seen this side of me, but I'm about to, freak out for a second, okay? And I'm like, oh, shit, what is happening? Right? And I'm, really, having these moments where I'm doubting myself, and I don't think that I'm in the right place. Why am I here? Why did you choose me? For what? This is crazy. I'm not. So, what I ask for is for encouragement. I need you to be my coach. I need you to push me. I need you to tell me that I'm great. Words of affirmation. I need you to give me that slap on my ass and say, come on, you could do this. I need that. And I think my friends know that I need that, and they show up for me, and they give that to me and be my cheerleaders, because that's how I need to be loved. And I'm also that friend as well. I'm a huge cheerleader. You are a beautiful person, Pauleanna, inside and out. And I am just so happy to be here and share the stage with you guys. And just also be mindful, for me, I'm a cheerleader and my friends cheer for me. But you also have to be aware of what your friends are capable, able, and willing to do for you. I want you guys to remember that. The person who is loving you has to be capable, they have to be able, and they have to be willing, okay? And you can't have somebody who is able to do something, but they may be capable. People who love you and they're in your corner and you're like, you can be this support for me, like you were talking about your friend, you should be capable of coming over here and giving me grapes, right? And you're able because you have a car and you have a money and you're not doing shit right now. So why aren't you here? But they may not be willing to do that because they may need to hold on to whatever little they have left, right? And they may not be willing to sacrifice the piece that they have left to show up for you, right? And we need people who have all three: capable, able, and willing. So, yeah.
That's good. Give her a round of applause. You know what's so interesting? So, I'm fine. This shit, it can creep up on you like it's doing right now, And sometimes you don't even know why you're crying. You don't even know why you're crying, but it could be a plethora of different things. And we're talking and, we're trying to keep it light and shit, but then you start replaying shit in your head. You start revisiting memories. And so this is an example of what someone with anxiety, depression, you can be smiling 1 second and then okay. My next question is, I'm trying to get through it. I'm having an episode right now.
Y'all give Pauleanna some love. Y'all give her some love. Y'all give her all the good vibes. Yes, we here supporting you, baby. Absolutely.
Before I move on to my next question, real intimacy and friendship is when someone's willing to pray for you. And so when we talk about capacity, when we talk about being willing, if you have a friend who's willing to give you that safe space and lay hands on you and pray with you, that person's a very special person in your life. My next question is around social media and the pressures around social media. Does that affect your psyche at all? Do you allow it to penetrate? Do you take social media breaks? What does that look like in all of your worlds?
1 second before we start, okay? We not about to just skip up. Hello, you're my friend, so we're not gonna do that. What we are gonna do, let's take a group deep breath, okay? It's called It's called 578. Okay, so we are going to close our lips and we're going to inhale through our nose for 5, and then we're going to hold it for 7, and then we're going to exhale out of our mouths for 8. Okay, so we're going nose, hold, lips, out. Okay, so we're going to inhale for 5 on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Hold it for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale out of your mouth. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Inhale from your nose. Hold it for 7. And we're going to exhale through our lips. Let's do one more for good measure. Inhale through our noses. Hold for 7. Exhale out your lips. All right.
Thank you for that.
God. Thanks be to
I feel
God.
better.
Okay. And your question was about social media? Okay.
Oh, man. You know what? Before we go to social media, crying is actually a very beautiful thing.
So therapeutic.
You
Let it
know,
out.
like my mentor told me that tears are medicine. And like sometimes I will take the day off and just cuddle up in my bed and just cry. And honestly, like I feel better after. You know, I think sometimes, especially our black men in the room, like we're raised not to show emotion or not to be expressive. Or I don't think that when I cry, it makes me look weak. I don't think that vulnerability is, you know what I mean? Like, so I want to encourage you guys, like, to feel what you feel in the moment and just like let it happen.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's all good. I'm back, baby.
Okay, period.
All right, social media. Let's talk about it.
All right, social media. So, yeah, you guys might want to talk about that. Well, like, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. It took me a long time to even, like, build an Instagram. I was, like, 3 years behind. I'm like, y'all doing what over there? I don't know. Y'all spend a lot of time on that thing. Y'all taking pictures of what? So it took me a long time to like get into the flow of things and letting people in, and just the idea of being personal with strangers and other people getting to know you. So for now, like sometimes I have to practice being in the moment. I think I heard you say that on your story yesterday, Pauleanna, like taking some time, like yes, everything is content, but you need a good balance of how are you also soaking in the moment? How are you being aware and present and mindful about who is right in front of you? If someone talking right in front of you and you're like, hey, let me get this on camera right away, then you're going to miss the message that they're giving you. So I'm more on the day-to-day. The advice that I want to give you guys is be present in the moment, get your content, you know, say what you have to say to your audience members, but also just be mindful. Like one of my mantras is what you're experiencing right now is temporary, right? So if this moment is temporary, then you want to capture it, and you don't want to miss anything or any parts. So just remember that today is temporary. You know, next week we'll be back to our regular lives. So get what you need, but also be very much here.
Social media. You want to fight? Oh my God. So Pauline is one of my mentors, and she's very adamant about me posting on social media, speaking engagements, being successful. I think she might want me to succeed more than I want myself to succeed. I really mean that. Like, she is on me like white on rice. Like, why didn't you post? The algorithm, this, you gotta network, you gotta do that. I mean, I can hear her in my sleep. I wake up, I see her. When I'm praying, I gotta shift her over to see the Lord. It is a whole situation. I mean, it is really overwhelming, honestly. She's the reason I have a therapist, you know, if we're gonna be honest. But yeah, so I took a 4-year social media hiatus. Like, I really Like, I shut it down. I was like, I don't give a damn who's posting. I don't care about no damn success stories. Everybody seems like they're winning. And I'm like, my mom's on the streets. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. My work, I have a 4-year-old that's like a Tasmanian devil. You just shit over there. I don't really know what's going on. And so it really was like, honest. I mean, and I'm being funny, but I'm also being very, very real. Like, I think even we had a meeting over the phone where we were discussing something, and she was like, don't forget you have this, and she's like going down this itinerary, and I literally busted out crying. I was like, I do not have it. I don't have it. I don't have it together. I don't know what's going on. I actually don't have the mental capacity to move forward with this meeting. And the rest of our conversations from here on out were, you okay? You need anything? Just checking on you. Like, she was like, I don't give a shit about the itinerary anymore, you know? So when it comes to social media, I really, really struggle with anxiety. I am mad insecure, and I care a lot about what people think for some reason. What are they saying in the comments? Do they like me? Like, it's just a lot, especially
you
like
also had a high-profile relationship, right? We don't have to drop names or anything,
we won't drop names.
Like,
but
so you were, you were prey.
Oh,
well, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people were familiar with...
I just realized she's from Alabama.
Right.
Oh, God. All right. Anyway, so I had a high profile... We'll talk off stage, girl.
Okay.
But, so I had a high-profile relationship. And
marriage. You were
marriage. I was married, had a son. I was a full-blown, NFL wife, whatever. And it just... I think... what you see on TV, like that glamorized basketball wives, NFL wives, I don't know if I'm just not cut out for that or what, but like it really was like freaking me out that like if we had a bad game, people were in the comments like, we're gonna kill your whole family. You suck. You this. If I see y'all, I'm like, whoa, let me go hide under a rock. I don't even know y'all. I don't understand. Why is everybody so angry? Why does it matter? Did you guys bet on the game? You shouldn't do that. You have a gambling problem. And so I just kind of like retreated because also it was one of those things where you were not only dealing with like this NFL life, but then you were also dealing with like, if I posted and I was too damn happy, somebody's in the DMs. Girl, you know what? He was in my DMs yesterday. And it's just like, wait, what? Like, I appreciate it because, I'm about to be single if anybody wants to date me. But, but then it just seemed that there was just like, it's interesting that they say Instagram is like you have these followers and, a lot of people put them praying hands, but you don't know if they're praying for you or praying on you. And so I don't post my son on social media. I don't post his face because I'm very cognizant of energy. Like everybody that's looking at me isn't praying for me, doesn't care about me. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I am ingesting is not always like positive energy. So I protect what I love the most, and that is like my son, my friends, my business, my family. Like I'm very private. So Pauleanna and I are trying to come up with some sort of strategy to curate. Like I'm going to start posting and be more open and more transparent because I noticed that, and we talked about this when we were on the escalator, but I'll post a bikini picture and boy, they'd be like, yes, girl, you look good. And I'll be like, oh my God, my self-esteem. Awesome. I really needed that. I was really struggling because, oh my God, I'm a mom. I'm not that fine. But I realized that like I posted a bikini picture and I was like, wow, I'm getting 400 likes. I don't really have a lot of followers. But I posted my mom being homeless and what I did for her, and that got like 20,000 views. Like it was insane. I really thought it was going to be the opposite. And everybody was like, yo, I have a cousin that we've been trying to help for a few years. I got this. My mom does this. Or, my father actually passed away from us continuously trying to help him and stuff like that. And I didn't realize that there was like power in my vulnerability. And that is what Pauleanna has been trying to instill in me since day one.
We'll wrap up with Amber real quick on this question on social media and then.
Yeah, social media for me, I have a problem getting on there for business because with me, I live in the moment. Like with my family, my friends, I really don't care about what's going on there. But looking at like other basketball players that were like girly, like now when I played, they have like hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm like, well, it would have helped my business at this point. So with me, it's more so getting on there more for business. I do love to see people, my friends, people I follow, but I have an issue with, I never pick up my phone and really scroll.
And before, I just wanted to say, like, when you do get vulnerable and share your stories, because I know we've been talking about sharing your stories and being vulnerable a lot at this conference, make sure that you have a support system around you for when you get that public and that vulnerable, right? Yeah. Like, make sure that you have mentors and friends that are also encouraging you and supporting you, because being that vulnerable is scary, and it can easily put you in a not so safe place. So you just want to make sure that your support system is strong, and you talk about it. Yeah.
I love you all. You all are my friends and my sisters, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this discussion.
Yeah. Oh, how do you find us? Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. Yeah.
Plug your shit. Go ahead.
Plug your shit.
So you guys can follow me at Emotional Exchange. No underscores, no periods, no nothing. It's emotional exchange, like the currency. I am cultivating emotionally well entrepreneurs. And if you guys are looking to work with me, please tap the link in my bio and join my Facebook group. That's where I will be pouring into my entrepreneurs and building emotional intelligence. So I hope I get to see you guys there.
I'm just Dennice, DENNICE_Johnson on all platforms, and my sports relocation company is called Hyphen.
And I'm just Coach.
Oh, girl. DENNICE, Dennice_Johnson on all platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and then my business is called Hyphen, Sports Relocation.
And I'm Coach Amber Jones. Can I pray us out? Okay, y'all, I'm going to pray us out.
Let's go.
For those that want to participate. Thank you. God, thank you, God, for allowing us to be here today. God, thank you, God, for everyone in this room, allowing us to get here safely. God, please, God, give us the mental capacity, God, to walk through life, God, confident, God, walk through life, God, bold, God, walk through life, God, demanding, and just know that each one of us are special, God. Each one of us are special in your name, and we all need each other, God. You created us to love. You created us to care. You created us to be empathetic, God. So please, God, help us to love thy neighbor, God, even when we may not know them, God. Help us to bless people that we may not know, God, people that can't do anything for us, God, because we want to walk, God, in your will, God. Just continue, God, to just love on us, see us, God, keep us, God, and just know, God, that we're loved, God, and that you care for us, God, and we're special in our own way, God, and just please, God, help us through this world. We are fighting a crazy world right now, but if we stay focused on you and keep our faith, we know the plan that you have for us if we keep faith in you, God. So just keep your arms around every single person in this room and just know that we are loved, God. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Today was special. You guys are lucky to be in this room. Yes, ma'am.